Is this anyone's first coordinates? Raise your hand if it is. All right. Yep, we got 2. Yeah. Well, welcome. Yeah. Yeah, 3. So you just so happen to actually be in the largest coordinates that we've had with a ton of people in it. So congratulations. Yeah. And it's not 11 o'clock at night. So also congratulations. We did one last night that got done about 11 o'clock. So why are we here, right? So about 4 years ago, we kind of kicked off the coordinates meetings, the roadmap that we're going to talk about a little bit today. So there was a lot of times where we were having staff come to us and say, hey, we've got people getting on our bus telling us what's going on at Embark before we hear about it from anybody in leadership, right? That's pretty darn embarrassing, right? And that's not living up to what leadership is. So we started kicking off these coordinates meetings to try to provide as much info as we can in the best setting that we can. So we do, right now, we've got 6 of these. We used to do 8 of them. We're able to try to trim it down to about 6. Come on through, man. Welcome, good to have you. Yeah, so that's why we're here. We're here to try to provide as much information as we possibly can with what's going on at Embark. Also part of that is we're able to really talk about our mission, vision, our core values. So our vision, right? So this is our long-term goal. This is what we're striving to be, is that Embark will be world-class transportation that's accessible to all and all want to access it. It's a pretty hefty goal. We're not there. We're honestly a ways away from it, right? But that's what we're striving to do. And a lot of the things we're going to talk about today is going to help us try to get to that vision. Our mission, Embark's mission is to be a self-sustaining transportation network that removes barriers of location and socioeconomic status while elevating the status and use of public transportation so all of Central Oklahoma can safely and quickly reach their destination. So that's what we're trying to do right now, every single day, right? So that's our mission. And our core values, we talk a lot about these. We'll talk a lot about our core values today. But be safe, be there, be open, be kind, or stoke, right? So we talk a lot about our stoke storytellers and things like that. That's how we can live up to our core values. All right, it's everyone's favorite part of coordinates. It's our safety video. Appreciate Eugene and his team putting these things together, so we're going to jump into that. So it actually says Jimmy Friend, 4-time Legend nominee. I think he's actually up to 21-time Legend nominee now. So yeah, fantastic. I really enjoy that video. Anybody from the body shop in here? You got anybody from the body shop? All right, I'll keep my joke to myself then. Because yeah, other things you got to look out for in parking lots are pipe bollards, because sometimes they jump out in front of you. All right, so we are going to talk about the first item on our roadmap, create a great place to work. I'm going to hand it off to Assistant Director Suzanne Wickenkamp.
Good morning, everybody. It is so good to see a full room like this. This is fun. Are you guys ready to have fun? Yes. Yeah, thank you, Eugene. I really heard that resounding yes. And I got to tell you, I feel like really safe when I look around and I see all this fluorescent. Like I know if I need a buddy to go out and be seen, I got plenty of buddies in this room to be with. So all the blue is great too, very Embark. I like that. So so good morning. We are here to talk about creating a great place to work. We've also got some stuff later we'll talk about with some capital projects, some things related to our policymakers. But the first start of coordinates that we like to do is kick it off celebrating our employees, because after all, there's no way that we have anything we can do for our customers if we don't have great employees, right? So you guys are what makes Embark great. You know that, right? Right? Without you, Embark's nothing, and we're not great. So we're great together. So what we started last coordinates was something called A Day in the Life, and we featured our service crew. Did you guys enjoy that video learning about our service crew and what they do at night with our buses. It's just amazing the work they do. We so appreciate them. Any service crew folks in here today? I don't know that I think they've been in prior coordinates, but make sure you appreciate them when you see them around. So today we're going to feature our parking team, which we happen to have many of them in the room today. I see you all throughout the room here. So we've got a video to show you, just letting you know a little bit about what they do in a given day.
It's a busy morning in Oklahoma City. The sun rises, and so does the team at Embark Parking Services, ready to help keep our city running smoothly. Let's take a look at a day in the life of the people who make it all happen. The day begins early for the Embark team. The streets are still quiet, but their work is already underway. On-street parking meters are being checked, ensuring everything's in top shape for the drivers who will soon fill these spaces. Some employees are out and about making sure each parking meter is working and ready for a seamless experience. With a quick scan and a few taps, they ensure everything is up to date, providing an easy, hassle-free way for drivers to park and pay. Over at the parking garages and lots, another team is hard at work. They're inspecting the lots, maintaining equipment, and making sure there's plenty of space available. Each lot is designed for convenience and safety, so when you pull in, you can rest easy, knowing it's carefully managed by the Embark team. Throughout the day, the Embark team remains vigilant, constantly monitoring parking availability, answering questions from drivers, and ensuring every lot and street is accessible. They handle everything with a smile, even when the pressure rises during busy hours. By the end of the day, when the streets calm down, the team is still hard at work, ensuring that everything is in place for another day ahead. They lock up, check the meters, and make sure every lot is ready to welcome drivers again tomorrow. So next time you pull into a parking space or tap your phone to pay, remember that behind every easy experience, there's a dedicated team at Embark who worked tirelessly to make it happen. Their commitment and care help make Oklahoma City a place where parking is simple and stress-free. From early mornings to late nights, thank you to the incredible employees at Embark Parking Services. Your hard work keeps our city moving, one parking space at a time.
All right. If you're in the parking services team, will you guys just raise your hand really high so we can recognize you? It's so good to see that video and learn more about what you all do. We appreciate you. I mean, you all move a lot of cars or help people move cars around downtown, and that's what makes businesses thrive, is that they have a place to park their car and go and do business. And so you guys are a big contribution to the economic booming that we have going on in Oklahoma City. So your job is really important. We appreciate you very much. All right, so we're going to focus now on employee achievements, and this is the section of coordinates where we celebrate folks who have hit their milestones, like 1 year, 5 years. We've even had a few 40-year anniversaries, the last coordinates. Now, we don't have those for you today. No big sheets of cake that Mike almost drops on the floor. But we do have a few. You can tell by the stack over here. We have quite a few that we're going to recognize today. So let's get started with our 1 year anniversaries. We have 53 employees that hit their 1 year milestone. The dates we're looking at is July 1, 2024 through March 31st. So we extended it just a little bit. Normally we look at 6 months, but since we're a little late with coordinates this year, we wanted to catch some more folks. So we're looking at July 1 through March 31. If you hit your 1 year after March 31, you'll be recognized at next coordinates. So 53 employees, that was a busy time of recruitment, right? That's a lot of people. All right, let's look at our 5 year folks. So we've got 31 employees who hit 5 years. That's still a really big list for 5 years. So let's give our 5 year folks a hand. We've got a few of you here today. 5 year box is all here. Okay, now we will move to our 10 year folks. All right, the list is 8 employees have hit 10 years. All right, 15 years of service. There's 4 people on this screen. All right, well, good job, everyone. So now we are going to look at our promotions over the last, again, July 1 through March 31. So we've had a few promotions here. Now, these are people that were hired into a position at Embark, worked really hard, demonstrated their skills and dedication. Opportunity opened up, and they got promoted. So really great job for our employees who've been promoted. So this section, employee achievements, we also like to recognize individuals who have had a professional achievement. So we've got a couple here on the screen that we'd like to share with you today. So Gerard Robinson was in our coordinates last night, so we got to recognize him in person, but we wanted to point out to everybody the honor that he received as an Employee of the Month for the South Oklahoma City Kiwanis Club. There's over 5,000 employees that work for the city of Oklahoma City, so to get this nomination and award is a really big deal. As noted by the fact the mayor is giving him the award, they show up at council and receive that award. So let's hear what Francesca Veals, who's our route supervisor that nominated Gerard, said about him. Gerard exemplifies dedication and respect in every aspect of his work. He consistently goes above and beyond, offering assistance without being asked and providing valuable advice to drivers to enhance their skills and safety. During a challenging and traumatic event while operating one of our buses, Gerard acted with exceptional composure, ensuring there were no fatalities. He returned to duty with resilience and has continued to perform at an outstanding level. His strong leadership, customer service, and safety skills set a high standard for excellence. The mayor said, "It was hard to go up from being the Employee of the Month for the entire city within your first 2 years." Gerard quipped back, "Maybe, Mayor." I also learned from him yesterday that he told the mayor that he was looking to be the next mayor of our city. So pretty ambitious bus operator we have. I'm very pleased to hear that, though. I think we'd be in good hands. So let's give it up for Gerard.
Yes, sir.
Really awesome. And then we also have another one we want to recognize, Dr. Marilyn Dillon, who's with us today. A lot of love for Dr. Dillon. So she was nominated for something called Woman of the Year. And I've been pointing out, it doesn't say Woman of the Year in Oklahoma City or Oklahoma or even United States. So I'm thinking it's like Woman of the Year for the entire universe, right? I mean, unless it says otherwise, I think that's what we go with. So pretty good nomination there, Marilyn.
Does it come to monetary stuff?
I mean, you're the nominee. You make it happen, you know? All right, so nominees for this prestigious award are typically selected based on their significant contributions to business, civic engagement, and community service in Oklahoma. The award aims to highlight women who not only excel in their professional roles, but also use their influence and resources to uplift others and drive positive change in Oklahoma. Congratulations, Dr. Dillon, on this recognition. Really good job. Okay. Well, are we feeling pumped up about how awesome everyone is and what a great place to work it is? I sure am. I just really appreciate y'all so much. It's so fun to be here with you. We have a video for you. This is what's one of our kind of classic coordinates things we like to do. So during coordinates, we like to recognize our most recent legends that, you know, every quarter we get 5 new ones. And so we like to look at the past 10 that we had join the Hall of Fame from prior coordinates. So before I do that, though, I just want to ask who in here has been around, come to coordinates since the very beginning of coordinates, which should have been August of 2021. Who are those people? Okay, so if you'll recall, that was our very first coordinates with the roadmap and our launch of this particular recognition program of legends. And so at that time, we either had, I can't remember if we had first recognized our first legends or just launched the program, but regardless, we could remember, 5 people. Now we're at like 75 legends, and frankly, I just can't remember all of the legends, but I do want to honor those legends that we have here. Raise your hand very high if you are a legend for Embark, please. I want to see you, and we want to clap for you and honor you. Look at all the hands around the room. That's awesome. Once a legend, always a legend is what we say. So once you win it, there's no more winning because you are grandfathered in. You're always a legend. So we have a video for you. Let's check out our newest legends. Just as a reminder, because we do have some new folks, legends, every quarter we focus on one core value. The one we're talking about today is our Be Open. And so we had employees, the supervisors and managers nominate employees. And our winner today is Paul Emmerich.
We need to make it a better organization, and if we're not open, then we can't progress in teamwork or anything else.
Lorinda Wells, where's she go?
I've seen a lot of growth because Embark is open, and so it's taught me to be open.
And our winner is Mr. Mason right there.
I'm just thankful having a job here. It's really good money, really good benefits, and I love my employees and all the great people we see every day.
Greg Rains. Come on down.
Being open to me means have the ability to listen to others' opinions on both how the operations go and what they think would benefit Embark as a whole.
Mr. John Johnson, congratulations.
So we're all working toward the same goal, and it kind of brings on like a familyhood, you know. So if we all working on the same goal, we all understand where we're going and how we need to move to get there.
All right, so we're here to celebrate legends. We're here for, I don't know if you noticed, Be Kind. Our winner is Ronnie Bailey.
Man, that's a reflection of my mom. Yeah, my mom passed away, you know, a little more than a year ago now. Just had the biggest heart. You know, if you was hungry, she'd feed you. If you needed clothing, she'd go in there and find something for you to put on.
Our winner is Renee.
Nope. I don't think anyone in para does this job just because it's a job. I think they do it because their heart's in it.
Drum roll. Tim Bitter.
Of all people to win kind, you know, it's like I'm kind of old and grumpy sometimes, so people don't sometimes see me as kind, but when they get to know me, they know better.
LaTonja Roberts.
And so for me, being kind starts in-house. If we cannot be kind and be of service to one another here at work, then we can't expect to do a good job when we get out there in the community.
All right, and our winner is, thank you, Mr. Eddie.
We came from a broken home, raised by my mother. There was always people there that were helpful to us, and so I think that has allowed me to have the sincere desire to be willing to help others, because I was a recipient of that basically growing up all my life. So.
All right. There is a box of tissue under your table if you need it after that video. Those are some amazing stories. All right, I've got a number for you, okay? 382. Any guesses what that number is? What does that mean? Okay. Okay, I love all the guesses. But here's what it is. It's the number of employees currently that we have. Who said that? Dennis? Todd back there. All right, well, there's no special prize for you. I'm sorry. However, what I want to point out about 382 is that's the number of employees that we have, and everybody has a Be There Stoke Storyteller card at your seat, right? And so what we're asking is for everybody to fill one of these out. We want to get 382 cards back. Now, we picked Be There especially for two reasons, really. It's very easy to find somebody at Embark who has been there for you, even if it's the most simple of things that they've done. I've been saying, like, hey, you know what? Black's my favorite color. Steve, thanks for being there for me and making me happy when I see your black jacket, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be anything complicated or news, media worthy on the 5 o'clock news, but just some way that someone's been there for you. Everyone can think of one person that's been there for them. So we're asking for you to fill out this card. This is the newly designed Stoke Storyteller card. So it's bigger, so you have more room to fill it out. I don't know about you, but I needed a little bit more space. It's getting a little crowded. So we want you to fill this card out, and you can drop it off with Deonda or Mike up there. Or if you're someone who likes to put a lot more thought into it, that's fine. You can take it with you, think about it, fill it out, and then drop it in to one of the boxes. It's in all of our different facilities with Embark. You can also go online to the roadmap.us and fill it out there, but I don't know about you, but getting a card like this is really more meaningful than like a printed off, typed up piece of paper. I'm not dissing on that. That's still great and still appreciated, but the card is just like that extra special touch. And so if we can get 382 cards, not from one person, by the way, although you can do that, we want one from everybody. Jesse has a special prize.
Brand new Cadillac.
It's the public servant version of the brand new Cadillac. So all jokes aside, though, we really just want to encourage everybody to be thinking about filling out the Stoke Storyteller cards. Anybody can do it. It's peer-to-peer recognition. So that leads right into our Culture Compass. Culture Compass is a group of individuals that represent the divisions throughout our organization to be a voice, mouthpiece for employees within their department to speak up about culture, like issues that are going on with their culture and how we can make things better. And part of what they do is show up to our new hire orientation and fill out Stoke cards and help other people feel welcome into our organization. So let's check out what the group's been up to the last few months.
Greetings from the Culture Campus Committee. For those that are new, and reminder for others, the Culture Campus Committee started almost 2 years ago, comprised of transit professionals from the divisions across Embark. Time flies when you're making a difference. Culture Campus meets monthly to amplify our employees' voices and to ensure we are focused and on track with our culture work. We are celebrating the amazing wins we have and mapping out the road ahead to make Embark an even better place to work. One of our biggest wins recently was our partnership with the ELT, Jesse Rush and Suzanne Wickenham, to make the Gauge survey a huge success. Our committee members worked tirelessly to spread the word and encourage everyone to participate. And thanks to all of those efforts, Gauge participation increased by 200%. A huge thank you to everyone who took the survey. You truly made an impact.
As a result of your responses, ELT, in partnership with the Culture Compass, developed the Gauge Action Plan. Safety was the chief concern from the Gauge survey, and we are directly addressing those concerns. Since the implementation of the Gauge Action Plan, we now have 24 new safety barriers installed on our buses during the month of March, and increased security on several fixed route buses. But we're not going to stop there. We'll continue to work closely with ELT to roll out even more improvements as part of the Gauge Action Plan for all of Embark. In addition, Culture Compass members are making sure to touch base with our new hires and in orientation and assisting at company-sponsored events like the Holiday Dinner, Transit Appreciation Day, and our upcoming employee picnic.
Culture Compass is all about making sure every voice at Embark is heard. We are here to connect, collaborate, and encourage positive change. Here's even more exciting news. Culture Compass is now officially on the roadmap. Check us out at theroadmap.us. Connect with us, drop us a comment, or ask a question. We would love to hear from you and keep the conversation going. Thank you so much for all your support, but we're just getting started. Together, we're building a culture that's stronger, safer, and more connected than ever. Thank you, and let's keep this momentum going.
Right. Will you raise your hand if you're a member of the Culture Compass? I know of at least 3 of you guys in here. Latangia, Tavis, Dion. Who else? Anybody else? So let's give it up for our Culture Compass members. What they do is entirely voluntary. They're not, they're doing this on their own time, and we just really appreciate all the work you all put into it and just the passion that you have for the culture at Embark. That's what creates a great place to work. So we're going to transition. We've done a lot of clapping, all right, and a lot of videos. We're done with videos. We're done with clapping, unless you just have the spontaneous urge that you want to clap. That's okay. We like clapping, don't we, Jesse? So we're going to talk about the Embark headquarter remodel. Now, we've been talking about this remodel for quite a while, probably 3-4 years now even. So this time around, though, I have really great news to report, and that is demo is happening next month. Like, that's the headline. It's happening. Not planning for it, not designing for it. We're doing it. Oh, the clapping. Yes, thank you. Yes, let's clap for that. That is definitely clap-worthy. It was a journey to get here. So I have for you today just some information, some photos to show you of what it's going to look like, as well as the project timeline, and then we'll answer any questions that you might have. So right here on the screen, we have the layout. Now, I know you can't see detail of what's what and where's where, but this is our overall floor plan. And the reason we want to show you this is to show you the fact that every square inch of the inside of South May Building is going to be gutted down to the studs, and hopefully not beyond the studs because we don't have budget for it. But when you open up walls, you never know what you're going to find. So we're going to replace all the mechanical, the electrical. I mean, it's a full overhaul. And so then, of course, the walls will go back up, and we'll have much better space planning, space optimization. So for those of you, if you recall when you were brand new at Embark and came to our building and how you got lost at least 1 or 2 times because you don't know the pathway, I mean, it's hard to navigate our building. And so now the layout's going to be a lot more streamlined, a lot more logical, easy to access, folks. And so you'll see that through the pink or the corridors. A couple things I'll point out to you as we look at the overall layout here. It's 17,000 square feet. Over here is north, all right? So you can get oriented south and then east and west. So right here, this rectangle, this is the operator lounge, and this is the kitchen break room area. So employee operators, break room, kitchen, and lounge area. There will be a TV here and sofa and seating. Don't necessarily pay attention to the mock-up of the chairs and locations of those, but just to show you this overall big space. And then dispatch moved over here on this side. So things have totally just been shifted. The idea here is we have grown so much. I mentioned this at a former coordinates, how much we've grown. We've doubled the need for office space in the last 5 years. And so when we created this layout, we were thinking not only about what we needed today, which is quite a bit of this space, but also thinking about the future, knowing that we'll continue to grow, we'll have need for more office space. And so we do have some offices and cubicle spaces that will be empty for a little bit. But knowing Embark, just when we think we're done growing, we grow even more. And we'll talk about more of that growth later today. So we have built in some extra capacity for growth. We're hoping this remodel can last us for the next 5 years or so. So we're going to be doing this in 2 phases. So we're going to keep everybody in the building during construction. Doesn't that sound like fun? Like, have you ever lived in a remodel, like in your home and it's been remodeled, and recall how much fun that was? So we are not, I'm joking obviously, we understand this is going to be challenging for everybody for different reasons. So we're asking you to be open, be kind to each other, be there and be safe, because it will be challenging. We're fitting what was the entire building over into one half of the building, and less than half even. So this white side here, this is where they're going to be doing construction. This is a 5-month phase. All right, so all the, and I should mention at our board meeting last Friday, the construction firm that will be doing the work is Cade Construction, and the contract was awarded to them at our board meeting on Friday. So that piece of the project's over with, and that's why we'll get into the timeline, we can get to demolition. So while they're doing construction here, we'll have everybody over in this area here. So the entrance will be over here because the lobby will be shut down. Erica, we have a special spot for you right here. We've got a spot for you, girl. All right, so we'll have kind of a special makeshift front desk area. This is the break room. Pretty small, but this is what we got to work with for 5 months. And see dispatch. So this is not going to be a place that a lot of people can hang out in. We recognize that. So more to come on communication about parking and what to do kind of in between things. But this is just a temporary pain for growth and for getting a brand new remodeled building. So then phase 2, after that one's completed, they'll move over to the other side of the building and demo and work on this. And this side will be completely brand new. And so everyone's going to move over here. You'll see we get some more room to work with, so that'll be great. The front lobby will be opened up again. So this will be a 4-month, or excuse me, over here is going to be 4 months of demo. So it's a total 9-month duration project. Now, you guys know, you've watched enough HGTV to know that construction projects usually are perfectly on time and on budget, right? Yeah, not usually. So we hope that it's 9 months. We anticipate 9 months, but we also understand that there's some possibility that with weather and things like that, or when you open up walls, issues that we didn't know were there could cause some delays. But right now we're looking at 9 months. So here's what the front lobby will look like. All right. So not the gray walls that we're used to right now. We're going to bring some color into our environment. I mean, we have a lot of white walls, but we'll have some color in there too to really just make it a vibrant place for our employees, to just bring some energy to the environment. So this layout here will show you with the red dot where in the photo it is located in the layout. So this is our front lobby. All right. So there's going to be a hallway back here and some access control doors. And then this is what the employee lounge and break room. This is a rendering, just a concept rendering of what it's going to look like. But these are baffle lights, so it just helps with sound mitigation. These are acoustical panels. This will be behind these vending machines, or where you'll be entering into the building back here. This is dispatch. You'll see it's nearly floor to ceiling window space, so they can be looking out, you can be looking in. So there's just real good visibility there. And the windows you can see go all the way around. So there's an L there. Here's the kitchen. There's an island with seating. What's not shown in this picture, as I mentioned before, is going to be like that large sofa, kind of modular furniture where you guys can kind of move stuff around, big TV there. So I'm calling it our living room. There's a certain light fixture and everything that's there, maybe even an area rug, but we're going to make it cozy for you guys. We want this to be a great space for you guys. So then the next one is our training room. So you'll see here, and I forgot to point it out when we looked at the layout, but I do want to let everybody know this training room is going to seat 42 people. And so I think we have more than 42 here today, but the idea is that coordinates, once our buildings are remodeled, we'll get to have coordinates on site at our headquarters, which is a huge deal for us. We've had to travel over to CMF for years, and now we're here. But we'll get to actually have coordinates at our own building. So that's going to be really awesome. And I know Tavis and Byron especially will be excited about this because there's a dividing wall here. So we'll be able to divide this room that's quite large into 2 training spaces if we need to, if you guys are doing different trainings and want to be able to have 2 different sessions going on. So we've got some flexibility there. We have 3 sleep pods. Let me go back for 1 second. We don't have the location on our, I just want to show you where they're at. So the sleep pods are right here. Here's the lockers. Here's that training room I just showed you. So we've got 3 sleep pods. So it's going to be totally dark, totally quiet for our operators and folks who need to take a rest break. This is just a concept. We haven't selected the actual piece of furniture yet, but it's going to be kind of like a hospital bed, like where it's a chair, but then it can recline out so you can sleep on it. We also will use one of these spaces, this one right here, for any nursing mothers that we might have. That space can be used for that. So this room will be private and quiet and dark as needed. And then here's what our call center and dispatch, again, these are just renderings, so they'll look obviously a lot bigger in person, but this is similar to what we have at the Santa Fe Depot when we built that out. So we've got, these panels here have very thick foam core in them to mitigate sound. So right now in our current call center, if you've been in there, you know how noisy it is. You can hear everybody's conversations. And so with some extra grant funds that we receive, we're able to make this space a lot quieter. Same thing with the dispatch area. So sound mitigation was a very high priority for us in these 2 particular locations. And then here's the project timeline. So we've done the design, we've done the bidding, and so phase 1 of the project that I mentioned is going to kick off May 12th. So I have asked to be part of the demo team. So I'm excited about that. I don't know if Eugene has that gotten to safety yet, if that's allowed. Anyway, I think it'd be fun, but probably. The rubber hammer. I'll use my fist. Just kidding. What, Marilyn? Right. I mean, I feel like we all have a good dose of something we could get out of our system with a sledgehammer. So that starts May 12th. It's a 5-month phase. And then phase 2 is November 2025. So this year, it's a 4-month phase. And then completion, we're looking at March of 26. So yeah, that's exactly it, Marilyn. We knew it was your birthday and we thought, what better gift for Marilyn? And so our 60-day timeline, so here's what kind of the next month or so looks like. So office employee moving days, May 2nd. So those folks who are on the side of the building, or actually everybody's, I think, making a move, will be moving over to that one north side of the building. We're gonna get nice and cozy and friendly. And then May 12th, walls start coming down, kicking in. So it's exciting. This is really happening, and it's very exciting to see. And so in 9 months, we'll get to see the brand new building. It's going to be awesome. I know Jesse's going to make a couple points about our maintenance building, but any questions about the headquarters remodel before we talk about that?
Does the city own that land just south of where we're at right now?
They do. It was purchased with MAPS 4 funding.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that possibly could be expansion.
Yes, that's the plan and why the purchase was made. Actually, COPPA did cut all the legwork on it, and then the MAPS 4, the voters, when they approved the tax part of it, was land acquisition.
Yeah.
So,
That'd be a good deal.
Yep. It's pretty awesome to have that. It's 11 acres we have. Any other questions about the remodel? I should mention, we'll have these pictures posted around the building after this week, so you can look more closely at them. And if you've got questions, just ask your supervisor. We'll also have some communication going out through Newstop to tell you more about parking and those kinds of things. So more details to come, but we wanted to give you the big picture view.
All right.
All right. Jesse?
Yep. So a couple of things. If I'm you guys, a couple of questions I would have, does this impact parking? So it will impact our parking a little bit. So just south of the building, we've got that little the concrete area with some parking spaces. So we worked with the contractor. That's going to be their laydown area. So they got to have some area to put supplies, a small job trailer, parking for those employees. So that's where that's going to be. Dennis worked with them to try to minimize that as much as possible. So there will be a slight impact on parking. And then, like Suzanne said, the other question, if I'm in maintenance, I'd be asking, well, that's awesome, right? But what about us? What about us in maintenance, right? We don't have enough bays. Our break room already, we can't get everybody in that break room. So what are we doing? So Dennis and supervisors are looking at the possibilities of what we can do in the current break room to see if there's anything we can do with furniture, to see if there's any way we can maximize the space currently there. We're looking at other options. Can we do some moving around some furniture to see if we can make some additional space? I know Dennis has already got some pricing a while back about blowing out the north part of the break room to expand that. So we're going to look at that again, see what that looks like, see if we can get some of that pricing reined in, to see if we can find some funding to take care of that. The other part of that is So coming up in October, there is what's called a GEO bond election. And does anybody know what the GEO bond election is? Jeremy does, yep. Anybody else? So that is whenever the city goes out and they sell bonds, right? And this is what funds major capital projects. And so our ask is going to be $86 million, and that's for transit vehicles and transit facilities. The biggest project in our bond ask of that $86 million is going to be a brand new maintenance facility. So again, coming up in October, there's going to be that GEO bond election to have that major ask. I'm not telling you how to vote. There'll be more information coming out about the GEO bond election, but just know that we will have a major project on that GEO bond election. And hopefully that will help fund a brand new maintenance facility that we're anticipating being around anywhere from $56 to $70 million. So it's going to be huge, and a huge break room, huge parts room, everything that you guys need. But it's one of those things that is, because it's so big, it's going to take some time. So hopefully that answers some questions. It's going to be a couple of years of tight spaces. Okay? Any other questions that Dennis can answer about maintenance? Did you catch that? Yeah. I know, right? Yeah. All right, so we're going to jump into some more projects here. So the next item here is enhance the status, use, and understanding of our services. So we haven't talked a lot about this, but I wanted to take a chance to talk about our transit ridership. So this is our bus ridership by fiscal year, going all the way back to fiscal year 11, right? So everybody knows what our fiscal years are. So July 1st to the end of June. So all the way back to fiscal year 11, this is our fixed route ridership. You can see around 15 to 17, we kind of peaked around 3.1 million per year. We started to dip down a little bit. We saw this across the entire United States, across all transit industries. We saw transit ridership beginning to dip. And then especially between 20 and 21, and we all know what happened then. We saw a huge dip in ridership, huge dip across the nation. And we saw the same thing, but we're starting to climb out of that. And so right now we're averaging about 2.7 a year. This year we're looking to get closer to 3, especially when you add on the Rapid Northwest ridership. So we're getting that much closer to 3 million, getting closer to back where we were pre-pandemic. A couple of things there. So I was at a conference 2 weeks ago. A lot of CEOs were there talking about kind of where they're at. Just to give you a concept of where we are compared to other transit agencies. So San Antonio, their transit service right now, they're still running Sunday service because of 2 reasons. They don't have enough funding, and they don't have enough people to be able to run their service. So they are running very, very limited service in San Antonio still 5 years after COVID, right? So big shout out to our HR team, making sure that we got folks in seats and folks in shops, making sure that we're able to provide that service. So it's fantastic. Next item here is our Rapid Northwest ridership. So you can see we kicked that off in December. We continue to grow as it does. Weather affects ridership. So we saw a dip in February. Remember, we had the freezing rain, snow, and all that. So that definitely had an impact on our Rapid Northwest ridership. But we were averaging right around 40,000 a month on the Rapid Northwest ridership. When we planned this project and we kicked it off, we were anticipating about 1,000 riders per day. And right now we're averaging about 1,500 riders per day. So we're actually exceeding expectations, which makes FTA very, very happy, all right? Yeah, go team, that's it. Yep, exactly. Streetcar ridership. So we don't talk about this very much, but I wanted to just throw it up there because, hey, we got Delano in the room, right? Our streetcar manager, give a shout out to him. But streetcar ridership, so we launched that in 2018. So FY 2019, we saw our ridership at 275,000 per year. Peaked a little bit in 2020. Huge dip in between 2020 and 2021. Starting to climb out of that hole. Projected ridership for FY 2025 is to be about 250,000. So we're climbing out of that hole and we're continuing to grow. A couple of things that drive that, right? So good weather and good events, right? And so when we have people out on the streets, people out on the sidewalks, we see this ridership continue to grow. So I appreciate Delano staying on top of that and making sure streetcars are rolling around in circles. Any questions about ridership across our modes? All right, let's talk capital projects. So we've talked a lot about MAPS. With MAPS 4, so we got $11.2 million in MAPS 4 to fund bus stop shelters, right? So you should be starting to see those come up and starting to see shelters installed. So that includes the shelters, the trash cans, and the bike racks, and the bus stop signs, all the amenities that go along with that. So if you think about it, when we were back before we made this a focus of trying to add shelters, I think we had 50, 60 bus stops that actually had shelters. Suzanne's going to quiz you later on how many bus stops we actually have in our entire system in Oklahoma City. Don't Google it, that's cheating. But with MAPS 4, we're able to continue to add those bus stops. You think about it, right? So a lot of our service runs at 30-minute frequency. Some of it runs in an hour. If you miss that bus, you got to stand out in the elements for at least 30 minutes, right? That's not world class. So we're striving to get at least over half of our bus stops to have shelters, and we're able to do that with the MAPS 4 funding. First Americans Museum, Marilyn, appreciate you taking over that project. Yep. So this is a $6 million grant-funded capital project where we're building a premium landing at the First Americans Museum, or the O'Connor Hotel and Resort. So just to kind of help you get oriented, so that is the landing right there. All of this over here is going to be green space with an amphitheater, things like that. Here's the O'Connor Resort, their parking garage. There's the museum. And then right here is the bridge foundation. So there's going to be a pedestrian bridge that crosses over the Oklahoma River to be able to increase that access to the landing and to the resort. All right, so before I jump into the new fleet vehicles, any questions about some of the capital projects we got going on? All right, so I'm going to set this down because it's going to take a second. All right, new fleet vehicles. So we, I trust you a lot, man, yeah. So we have ordered 6 new fixed route vehicles. We ordered 3 New Flyers and we ordered 3 Gilligs. We have 2 of the New Flyers on the grid. We have 1 that finally got its seats, and we're anticipating it next week, a week after? Yeah, next week. So we'll have all 3 of those New Flyer buses on the grid. So these buses were actually fully built several months ago, like 3 or 4 months ago, and we've been waiting on seats. Right? So we've been waiting on seats to show up, and we finally got enough seats to ship 2 of them, finally got enough seats to ship that 3rd New Flyer. We're anticipating the 3 Gilligs to come, midsummer or late summer?
They should be here by May.
Even better, early spring. So they should be here by May. So we're anticipating, again, 6 fixed route buses to be on the grid by the end of May. And with that, we'll be getting rid of some of the older buses, right? Some of those, which ones, 11s? 9s and 11, yeah, so 9s. Yeah, so we're going to be getting rid of a lot of our older buses. So with that, right? So with that, we also have grant funding to replace all of our old diesel buses, and we'll get all brand new CNG buses, right? So we're in the process of making that happen. It's just a matter of getting that money to turn over. So we have funding, we have federal funding, we wait for the buses to come in, we get reimbursed, and we take that money and purchase more buses. And also, some of the things that we've seen in the past is, we'll have a batch of 1700s where we've got 9 or 10 1700s. Well, they come due to replace, and now we got to come up with funding to replace 9 or 10 buses, right? So what we've seen is it's better strategy to kind of space those out a little bit so that you don't have to come up with a huge batch of money to replace a huge batch of buses. So that's part of our strategy too. Any questions about fixed route buses? So one thing I do want to point out is I want to give the maintenance shop here a big shout out because, I do actually have a quiz question. Besides you guys, who knows what the useful life of a fixed route bus is? 12 years, right? So, and all of our buses get funded by FTA funds. So that means when that bus arrives, no matter what happens, we have to make it last 12 years. So that means if that motor blows up every single year, we got to replace it every single year, and we got to make it last that 12 years. So huge shout out to our maintenance shop making those buses last as long as they do. It is not easy right now. We have a lot of part shortages across the nation. I know Dennis and Tracy are on the phone basically every single morning making phone calls saying, where are our parts, guys? You said they'd be here in 30 days. It is day 30 and 1 hour, and they're trying to find them, right? I know for a fact that they've actually shipped parts in on a plane. I don't know if you put them on bought an airline ticket or what, but you ended up getting parts here, brake pads here overnight pretty darn quick. So again, huge shout out to our maintenance team making that happen. Like I said, it is not easy right now. All right. Jump into our paratransit vehicles. We got a few paratransit folks in here. Who does paratransit? Yep. All right, fantastic. So we heard your voices. We heard that the ProMasters are difficult to do wheelchair securement, right? Especially if you got one wheelchair in there already. It makes it difficult to get the second one in there, trying to reach around the wheelchairs and things like that. So we have worked with some grant funding. We found some additional funding to be able to purchase 7 vehicles. So our board directive is to order alternative fuel vehicles. We are no longer able to get ProMasters in CNG. So we found a contract, appreciate it, Maryland, found a contract in Ohio. We were able to tag onto that contract and we were able to order 7 CNG cutaways. So these are much larger. These give more space when it comes to wheelchair securements, things like that. So we're ordering 2 LTV 13-2s. These are 13 seats with 2 mobility device locations. Ordering 1 LTV 12-3. This is a 25-footer. It's one of the bigger ones. Seats 16 with fold-up seats and spaces for 3 wheelchair securements. And then we're ordering 4 LTV 12-2s, a little bit smaller, 22-footers, 12 seats with 2 wheelchair securements. So a question came up, will these have the new lifts? Absolutely, they will absolutely have new lifts. They're brand new vehicles. What's the weight on them? Yeah, 1,000-pound wheelchair lifts. So all those wheelchairs that have all the extra stuff on the back of them, we'll be able to make sure we are able to take care of that. So any questions about our paratransit vehicles? They are CNG also. Yep. Questions? Nobody? Okay, I just want to make sure everybody knows this is the time to ask questions, right? So don't be afraid. I know there's a lot of people in here. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's why we're here, to be able to answer questions. So already ordered them? They are on order. We are anticipating them May, June?
No, roughly July time.
Okay, July, yep.
They're scheduled to be built.
That's right.
Last of May, 1st of June. Then they have to go back to Indiana for some CNG stuff and then come back to us.
Right.
Somewhere in
Summertime.
Should be about a 30-day.
Summertime.
Let's go summertime.
Yeah, we do seasons, summertime. Yep, exactly. So just another thing that like these buses, they show up, they're going to look like that, right? They don't show up with all the graphics on them. Dennis's crews put the graphics on them. They have to do all the installation of equipment, fare boxes, things like that. All the cameras have to be added. So when they show up, they're not ready to roll. It takes a little bit of time to get all that equipment put into not just the paratransit vehicles, but also the fixed route vehicles. So that's why it takes a minute. Whenever you see them on the grid, it takes a few minutes to get them roll out.
Those 12-2s, the back of them, there's not a lot of space back there.
Yep.
It says room for 2. Ones that we received in Norman have a jump seat back there. We're going to have to see about trying to get that thing removed to make it work, hopefully.
The interior of these is quite a bit different than that one you have down in Norman. The actual interior doesn't actually look the same. They use a different model of jump seat in these, so it folds out much.
Well,
You've been on the streetcar downtown, you know how almost flush it folds out. These fold up almost flush to the wall.
Right. Where you put the ratchets down, jump seats right there. It's be hard to get two chairs in there with that seat back there. So.
No, I get it, Todd. I get it. I mean, at this point, these are the biggest vehicles we can get without moving to buses. You know what I mean? So we're
That 12-3 seems to be a much better design, or that
13-2, where they're
the two
front to back.
side ones up front. I think the access to it just enables the wheelchair users room to maneuver and actually get in there. Some of our ADA passengers, it's not always that easy to navigate in a real confined space like that. So
I follow you. Yeah, so it's one of those things. We're learning as we're going, right? So we're trying to make improvements. We're doing it one step at a time. We'll get these in. We'll check them out. If we need to make changes, we'll make changes on the next order. So that's nature of the beast. Yep.
It is a different manufacturer completely from what we have had in the past, what Norman has. So get them, try them, and we need to improve on them, we'll improve on them.
That's what we do, yep. All right, any other questions, paratransit vehicles? All right, hearing none. Bus barriers, so we talked about this last coordinates, right? So this was a huge deal. We wanted to see bus barriers in our fixed route buses similar to the BRT buses. Again, another shout out to Dennis and his crews that actually came up with the nation's first retrofit kit, right? So we have officially retrofitted 23 buses plus one demo, and we have one last bus that we're waiting on a few parts. So we'll actually have 25 buses that have the bus barriers in them. There's the list of the buses that have them currently installed. This was a huge deal for us, right? So like I said, we were the first ones in the nation to have this retrofit kit put in. And again, another huge shout out to Dennis, the body shop crew, and everybody that made that happen, because now everybody's doing it. It's kind of funny.
Thank you.
Yep. So a couple of things that we've learned during these coordinates meetings is that if you are vertically challenged, it is difficult to get into the seat sometimes, and it's also difficult to open the door. So that's one of the things that we've learned. So we'll work with Dennis and his crews to see if there's ways that we can help mitigate that. So we appreciate it.
Because you don't have people standing up there talking to you and
Yeah.
distracting you. It is so worth squeezing through there. It's worth it.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, it's small investment and make huge improvements. All right. Well, sorry. Any questions about bus barriers? All right. Everyone's favorite. Yep, Marilyn.
Is our intention as we continue to replace the fleet replacement, we'll all have a bus barrier?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yeah, so that's a great question. So all of our new vehicles, so you'll notice the two new Flyers that are on the grid, they've got the bus barriers. From here on out, if we order a fixed route vehicle, it's going to have the bus barrier. Okay. The way we did the installation was that we started with the newest ones because those are the ones we're going to keep the longest. Worked our way backwards. We were able to fund 24 right now. We're seeing if Eugene can square away some money. Probably not. That's okay. But we're trying to see if we can help fund that small little gap of buses that we got left. But you got to remember, those are the ones that we're going to be replacing here pretty darn soon. So, you know, that balance of cost and of removal of buses. But we focused on the newest ones first and worked our ways backwards. Appreciate the question, Marilyn. But yes, moving forward, all of our buses will have these bus barriers in them. All right, everyone's favorite topic, restrooms. All right, we have been talking about restrooms for, it feels like, 4 years. But so Transit Center remodel, employee restrooms. So we have signed a contract with Miles Architects. They are working on their 30% design right now, so to help you get oriented. Over here is the north, here's the west. Right there is the door that you currently go in and out of. If you go to the Transit Center, you come through the employee entrance. Looks a little different, right? There's no more hallway. Yeah. Well, that's about 5 feet of space that we're going to gain into restrooms now. So the plan is to remove that hallway. You come in on the north side there where the employee break room area is, and we're going to maximize the space there that we can. We're basically an entire gut, and so we're going to have brand new floors, walls, ceilings, lights, paint, toilet partitions, toilets, sinks, mirrors, everything. Everything in the restrooms will be brand new. So that's coming. So we are, like I said, we signed the contract with Miles Architects. We're in the current process of design. We anticipate taking a 30% design to our board soon. This is a pretty simple design, so it shouldn't take long, and we're anticipating hopefully starting construction later this summer or early fall, and it should be a pretty quick turnaround. It's a Transit Center remodel, so yeah, we know what happened last time, but it should be much quicker. Jeremy? Yep.
So is one of them going to be ADA accessible? Because
Yep.
I can't tell you
Yeah.
how many times I've needed to go into
Oh,
go to the restroom, but because I can't get my wheelchair
Mhm.
kind of into that space,
Yeah.
I end up using the public.
Yeah, it's brutal. The restrooms we got there are just horrendous. But yes, so to answer your question, so these are configured for ADA accessibility. This one here and this one here. This is wheelchair churning radius. There. These are all the ADA clearances at the sinks and at the urinals. All of that's required. These are the door approaches that are required for ADA accessibility for the forward approaches. And so it's a requirement that everything that we build, I mean, we're going through IBC code, ADA code, all of that. So everything will be ADA accessible. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep. small deal, but again, huge, right? Appreciate the clap there, Josh. Yeah. I love restrooms, yeah. All right, any other questions about the transit center employee restrooms? All right. Bus wash facility. You're right, yeah. So it is not lost on us that we lose how many mirrors a week at the bus wash? Dennis?
Too many.
Yeah, way too many, right? So this bus wash equipment is from the 90s, what, 94, 97, somewhere in there. And we're still using it. We're making it work, right? Doing the best we can. That's what we do. We do the best we can with what we got. But we've got funding to come in and completely gut the bus wash, come in, repaint the entire area, install new LED lights, put in new equipment. So we're anticipating kicking that off later this spring or early summer. Should be a pretty quick turnaround to be able to do this work. What do you think, maybe 30 days, something like that?
What they have quoted. So.
Yeah, so as soon as we get that kicked off, we'll get that installed. We get to keep our mirrors after they go through a bus wash. But I mean, $1,100, $1,200 a mirror, this thing can pay for itself pretty darn quick, right? So excited to get that thing kicked off. All right, long-range transit plan. All right, so we do this every 30 years. So if you go back to 2025, there's this program or this plan that's out there. It's called the Long Range Transit Plan. You can go out there, you can find it on our website. If you're bored, you can read it. It's good sleeping material, but it's actually what put the vision out there for what transit would look like in the next 30 years, going all the way back to 2005. So in that fixed guideway study, it recommends that we have a streetcar, that's a downtown circulator. It recommends that we have a BRT system. It recommends that we have commuter rail, and it recommends that we have microtransit as part of our systems in the next 30 years. Well, we've got a streetcar, we've got a BRT, microtransit's coming in the next 2 or 3 years, commuter rail's coming up, right? So guess what? It's time to update our plan. So Chip and his team, working with the MAPS department, they're in the process right now of updating our long-range transit plan. So everybody in this room is going to get an opportunity to weigh in on that. There should be an opportunity to talk to your supervisor on how to weigh in on that. We want your input. We need your input, actually. But just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that we know are going to be part of that long-range transit plan. So up here, in the orange, you've got our BRT systems, right? So the one that kind of goes off to the northwest, that's our Rapid Northwest. The one that goes off to the northeast and to the south, those are the MAPS 4 BRTs, right? So we know that that's coming. So the question has been, when is that coming? So where we're at in the process right now is that with MAPS 4, we didn't have enough money to do the entire length of those segments. And so we're actually in the pipeline right now to go after some grant funding. It's called CIG funding, Capital Improvement Grants, to be able to fund the full length of those BRT projects. So we're in the pipeline for that right now. We should hear back later this year whether we're going to get awarded that grant. If we don't, we're going to apply for it again next year, right? And if we don't make it that year, then we're going to make the decision. We're going to just shrink down that alignment to what we can afford, and then we're going to move forward with it, right? So we should see BRT to the northeast and BRT to the south around 2028, 2029, regardless of whether we get grant funding or not. Also on this line, you see the kind of the blue lines that run to the north and run to the south. So those are the commuter lines. That's part of the RTA, the Regional Transit Authority. They're a completely different governance body, right? So we are lucky to have Assistant City Manager Fairbrush, who used to be a director. He's part of that governing body, so he has a lot of input as to kind of what that's going to look like. But so the questions have been, when is that happening? So again, the RTA is a completely separate governance body, but what we're hearing is that right now, the initial plan was to have that vote come up later this year. But I had mentioned earlier the GO bond election, right? That's coming up later. So they didn't want a $1 billion GO bond election plus a however many $1 billion RTA election coming around the same time and competing for each other. So they pushed the RTA election to possibly next year, later next year. Could potentially line up in November to line up with the midterm elections to get a better turnout, right? So that's kind of the thinking on the table right now. We'll see how all that plays out. So again, that's the commuter rail line that runs to the north to Edmond, the commuter rail line that runs south to Norman, all convening at the Santa Fe hub downtown. The other purple lines on there are unconstrained. So that means money is no object. We're just, big dreams, right? So the purple line that runs out to the east, that is a BRT line that runs to Tinker Air Force Base. You guys remember there was some news that came out that Midwest City decided to opt out of the RTA, right? We all know how that goes. And once they start seeing RTA stops being built, they'll be like, whoa, why are they getting that? We're not. Chances are they'll probably jump back in, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, the plan right now is to have a BRT, part of the RTA that runs to Tinker Air Force Base. And the two that run to the west there, those are light rail vehicles. So one of them would be running to the airport with a short little shuttle that goes to the FAA Center. And then another mode that goes out to the Yukon Mustang area. So these things are in the future, right? These are long-range transit plans. But these are things that we have on our radar and looking to try to implement into the future. This does not take into account any of the bus network, right? So there are major changes that we are planning in the next 30 years for the bus network as well. We all know frequency is what drives ridership, right? So that's going to be one of our biggest pushes, is try to maximize as much frequency as we can on our fixed route system. A lot of info there. So any questions about our long-range plans? Yes, sir.
Yeah, will the RTA be a part of Embark?
So we don't know yet, right? So like I said, they are completely different governing bodies. What we do know is that they are setting up the RTA to be a direct recipient of FTA funds. So we don't know yet, and we're going to kind of have to see how all that plays out. That's all political stuff that I try to stay out of. Yep. Yep. Any other questions?
Did you say what?
Yep, Josh.
KC moves long-term improvement toward?
What's that? Oh yeah. Oh man, I don't have the hour to go into it, but a lot of it is focusing on frequency, some reconfiguring of some of our current routes. And I know a big push is making Route 23 a higher frequency route. That's one of our highest ridership routes, right? So making sure that's a higher frequency route first. But a lot of it is just maximizing the current structure. You know, a lot of agencies are getting away from the hub and spoke, kind of like what we have, and going more of a grid layout, right? So like, if I live on the northwest side of Oklahoma City, but I want to go to the east side of Oklahoma City, I shouldn't have to go all the way downtown, jump off a bus, and get on a different bus to go to the northeast side. So it's more of that, trying to reconfigure it to that grid structure. That's high level, right? You can go to the website and you can look up OKC Moves, and the whole plan is there if you're interested. But all of that culminates into the long-range transit plan. Any other questions? Carrie, did I miss anything? Nope. All right. All right, so where we're currently at is assessing all of our current plans, everything that we've done in the past, having workshops. Again, this is when we want your input. So if you haven't heard about it, talk to your supervisor. There's an opportunity to provide input, but we need your input. This is everybody. I know everybody's got great ideas. Provide those input, provide those thoughts. We'll be evaluating everything that we got, and then we'll be recommending to our board and to the committees and city council what our long-range plans are. That's coming up later this year, first part of next year. Do you remember? I can't remember either. Anyway, it's coming soon. All right. All right, preserve the confidence of the board, city, and RTA. Before we jump into this, any questions about things that we've talked about so far? Is anybody falling asleep? Do you need to stand up and stretch? That's okay.
I got a question, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
The communication that we got, what we use on BRT,
Yep.
is that going to switch to fixed route?
Are you talking about the
Are we
Clever
gonna be running
equipment?
on the same, yeah.
We are, yep. Yeah, so the two new buses that are currently on the grid right now, they're getting all the Clever equipment put in them now. And so we are transitioning all of our fixed route, BRT, everything moving forward in the future is transitioning over to Clever. I know we've had some issues, but I know that Michael and the IT team are dedicated to get those issues resolved. I know Jared and everybody's just, I mean, they're a lot of long nights trying to make all that happen. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yep. But it's a brand new system, man. We know how technology is.
Yeah.
It takes a minute to work all the bugs out.
It works for the most part. It's
Yeah.
just not.
It's not
real
perfect.
Accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, especially headways. Yeah, we know that. Especially if you get on a detour, that screws up the headways for sure. Yeah, and they're working through all that. Yep. Great question.
I have a question for you, Jesse.
Yep.
I know Chip had set up a workshop to get feedback from everybody in regards to their future plans. Do you
Yep.
know if he set up another one for that information to get pushed out even harder to the operators and stuff?
I'm not sure. I need to follow up with him. Carlo was in one of the previous meetings and he said that it was happening, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, if we haven't done a good job of getting that information out to people to be able to get your input, we're going to do it again. There's going to be a lot of opportunity to get your input. Somebody have a question? Yes, sir.
Sounds like you're not being forced to go electric anymore then.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Those electric buses, they look pretty on our yard, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. Like, they look pretty. They're always clean. Yeah, they look good. Yeah, so our board they directed us to go after alternative fuel vehicles. So that's CNG or electric. We have not had great luck with our electric buses, clearly. We also know that unless you want to install charging stations at the transit center to charge them, they're not going to last all day. Right? So, and they're also twice as much. Right. So at this point, it does not make fiscal responsibility sense to purchase 2 buses to be able to run one route that you can do with 1 bus. So our initiative moving forward is to continue with CNG. Don't let Dennis hear me say this. Everybody's looking at hydrogen right now. We're not real comfortable with it, but everybody's looking at it. We're not going to be the leaders to go buy a bunch of hydrogen buses and install a hydrogen system to lead the nation. We're going to let other folks do it first and see what happens, right? But our main focus right now is going to be CNG buses.
That sounds pretty good.
Yep. Any other questions? Yep.
I would suggest that you guys look into combining the RTA with Embark
Mhm.
because you would triple ridership and your funding would be off the charts.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. Yeah, 100%. If there's any way we can do anything to increase our funding, that's what we're shooting for. Yeah. I know that that's also the drive of the RTA is to try to find ways to improve transit, not just commuter rail, but improve funding and improve transit across the board in all of central Oklahoma, not just Oklahoma City, but Edmond, Norman, Oklahoma City, everybody. And it's about making those connections to the commuter rail too. It's not just bus service, it's not just commuter rail, it's thinking big picture, right? Because if you got commuter rail that's running, but you don't have any way for them to get anywhere once they get to their stop, that's not helpful, right? So it's thinking about the entire network working as a whole. Yep. Yep.
And also, plus, when the train shut down, buses keep running.
That's right. Yep. True story. True story. All right. Anybody else? All right. Let's jump into this. It's still me, guys. So again, if you're getting bored or you're getting tired, stand up, take a break, stretch. Let's talk a little bit about our customer survey results. So every year, except for 2023, we do a customer survey. And this is important. Oklahoma City does a survey, but that goes out to everybody. It doesn't matter if you ride or you don't ride our systems in any way, right? But this survey that we do, this is our riders. These are people that use our system every single day. And this is important because they use our system, right? It's not people out there that just see the buses go by. So in 2024, our Oklahoma City bus fixed route system, overall customer satisfaction was setting at 77%. This is 19% above the national average. National average being 58%. Let that soak in for a minute. Folks, that's fantastic work, right? That is fantastic work. So just to kind of give you an idea of what all goes into that. So we increased our satisfaction in 10 areas, 10 out of 13 areas. Here's a list of those 13 areas. So again, this takes everybody in this room. It takes everybody at Embark to be able to make this happen because you'll notice like ease of paying fare. All right, that's not just bus operators. That's technicians making sure the fare boxes are working. That's IT making sure the fare boxes are working. That takes everybody to be able to do that. What's another one here? Cleanliness at Transit Center. I see you guys back there. Like, it's way higher than it used to be. Like, that's nice work, folks. All right. Yeah. So like I said, it literally takes everybody. So again, we increased 10 of 13 areas in our system here in Oklahoma City. All right, Norman. So Norman's overall satisfaction is sitting at 83%. That's 25% higher than the national average. Nice work. So something to focus on here is, so although satisfaction has decreased in several areas, when you're sitting at the top, it's hard to stay at the top, right? So if you notice safety while riding the bus route, 92%, still fantastic. Did it decrease a little bit? Just a little, but it's still fantastic results. Again, fantastic results across the board there, but some of them did decrease a little bit. We're looking into why, but still fantastic results. Good job, Norman. All right, so the last slide here on customer surveys. So here's a list of some of the highest moving ones. Safety while riding, safe operations by drivers. Nice work, guys. Safety while waiting at a stop. That goes back to having those bus shelters, right? So that makes you feel much safer, especially when they have lighting. So just little things that we're doing are making huge improvements. But the thing I want to focus on here is the quote there in the blue box. So ETC, they come out and they're actually the ones that do survey across the entire nation for transit agencies. So it's not just they come here, they don't know what they're doing, they're just out surveying folks. They do it across the entire nation, right? And Chris, the guy that does the president of the company, his quote is, "Embark service is setting the standard for customer satisfaction in most areas." So you should take very, very high regard of that. That is fantastic work, folks. So one more time, nice work. All right, any questions about survey results? All right, transit triumphs. Back to you, yeah.
Great. Okay, so I actually didn't tell you the truth at the beginning of coordinates, so I'm going to recognize that. I said the clapping was over, and clearly it is not over, so I will never say that the clapping is over again. So we have some transit triumphs. So earlier we focused on individual employees, and now we're focusing on Embark as a whole organization. So the first thing we have for you is Heart of the City. That's an annual fundraiser that is with United Way. And they have several different programs throughout the community that within the United Way family that this fundraiser supports. It's the city of Oklahoma City sponsors this fundraiser throughout the entire organization. So we're one department of many. And so we actually won an award this week at the Heart of the City ceremonies. So we are considered a large department within the city. So they have kind of these categories, small, medium, and large, just to make it kind of equitable in terms of the opportunities to win. So we won first place Goal Buster. So we had a goal that we exceeded by 220% of our fundraising dollars. This was headed up by, in the photo here, Kim Grissom, who used to be Kim Brown, our customer service supervisor. So under her leadership and the team that supported her and all of you guys and your contributions, whether it be through your paycheck, giving that you do through your paycheck, or maybe you participated in one of the fundraiser events like a raffle or a bake sale or what have you. So all of that created a contribution of $53,000. And if you got to know, like a dollar even goes a long way in these programs, but $53,000, that's really worth another round of applause for the great work. So we're looking forward to our next fundraising event, which starts in September. So be sure you're participating in that. And I've told Kim she did such a good job. She gets to be our coordinator again next year. Once you do great, we got to just keep with you. So Jesse, over to you. We'll kind of tag team this.
So the Urban Land Institute, they recognized the Rapid Northwest for a public initiative nomination. So what this is city funded, right? So whether it's Oklahoma City, the Village, Bethany, things like that, these are city funded projects that make major impacts. We were nominated. We did not win. We did get a cool little, I don't know, piece of wood that says impact on it, but we didn't win, but that's okay. But it is nice to be nominated. It just goes back to the impact that we are making. So whether it's Rapid Northwest or the fixed route or paratransit, mobility services, cleaning bus stops, whatever it is, we're making huge impacts to the community. So appreciate you guys for that.
All right, so another thing is we won a grant for $19.5 million. It was a raised grant. We applied for it in 2023, and what this grant was for was, Jesse mentioned earlier about the MAPS 4 bus shelters and the funding shortage there with inflation. So we were able to fund 140 shelters. The goal was 500. So that's quite a gap. And so we applied for this raised grant trying to close up that gap. And so we didn't get it the first go around. But you know what? You don't give up, you try again. And here's why, because round 2 of applying for it, we got the award, $19.5 million. And so what that means for us is that gap of 360 shelters, we can now close that gap with this grant. So the grant was awarded to the City of Oklahoma City, As Embark, we will be the ones managing the grant with the FGA. There's a lot of technicalities to managing these federal funds, and so we'll be partnering with the city on that. But this grant funds not only the shelters and the lighting and trash cans and stuff that Jesse talked about earlier, but also will fund sidewalks and pedestrian crossings, as well as lights at every single one of our bus stops in our system. So unless you like Tracy and Dennis, please don't answer this question because you're going to know. But who has a guess of how many bus stops, so that includes shelters, are in our system? And Carrie, you can't answer either. I know, Jeremy, you can't answer either. Sam, a few of you can. Just for fun. Any guesses? I heard 1,000 somewhere. 12,000. I like 12,000. Man, that's a big system. So Tiffany, you're close. In fact, Price is Right, since you didn't go over. You are the winner of, well, we don't have a price, but 1,263 stops in our system. So that's a lot of stops. Our system is just so spread out. Every single one of those will have a light at it. And then as far as shelters, we'll have over 500 of those stops, 700 of those stops will have shelters. So that's more than half of our system with bus shelters, which is a really huge deal, certainly ahead of what most transit systems have. So we're really grateful for that. And of course, with that, we are hiring more staff to take care of those shelters and maintain them, because we do have to keep them clean and maintained. So great job on winning nearly $20 million.
All right, where's our normal folks? Todd back there. Hey guys, how you doing? So, I believe his last coordinates, it came up several times. It's like, hey, you guys have security in Oklahoma City at your transit center. We've got a brand new transit center here in Norman. Why do we not have security? So we work with Taylor again. So we provide staffing for the operations and service down there in Norman. But the city of Norman, they actually own and provide the equipment, which also includes the facilities. So that's the transit center and the bus barn, the headquarters there. So we worked with Taylor to secure funding to be able to provide security at the Norman Transit Center. So we have security there, 8 hours per day of service. Hopefully you guys have seen some improvement there, and we're continuing to monitor that. So what that 8 hours means is we monitor, okay, maybe in the afternoon there's more instances, so we kind of shift those hours around to make sure that we're maximizing the use of those hours. So again, hopefully you guys are seeing some improvement there, but we're continuing to monitor that and keep on driving that security there. Yep, appreciate you guys.
Okay, one more that we're going to share with you is related to parking and the Oklahoma City Thunder partnership. So last year there was an announcement about the new arena that y'all probably have heard about in the news quite a bit. And so with that, the demolition of the Cox Center garage right there, that's the location of the new arena. Well, that was a garage that we managed, and we had Thunder fans parking there. And so we were able to relocate those fans to one of our other parking garages at Sheridan and Walker. And so with that, since they're a little further away from the arena, we seized the opportunity to provide a shuttle to the arena. So we have a rapid bus, and we also have a streetcar route that takes folks from that parking garage to the right dropped in front of the arena. So with that, what's really cool about it is not only did we maintain our parking, our parkers and that revenue, which is a big deal for our system, we also were able to capture more ridership for our transit system. And if you think about it, a lot of our Thunder fans, maybe they don't even ever ride Embark Transit. Maybe they've never ridden the streetcar or the rapid. Well, now they've had a chance to get on it, even if it was just a short little ride, and see hey, this is easy to use, this is really cool, it's really safe, convenient. And so we provided over close to 10,000 rides since October. And of course, the partnership with Thunder is also a big deal. We've been able to deliver solid results to a very high visibility, high influence. The Thunder is a big deal in our city. And so to have that relationship, they know who we are and they know we deliver results, is just huge for us. So we're excited not only about this opportunity, but just the other opportunities that will come in our partnership with Thunder. So we're getting to be big leagues, guys. Isn't that cool? Professional basketball team, and we're part of that. I think that's just really cool. All right. Back over to you, Jesse.
The final segment. We're almost there, folks. All right, so if you were to ask me back around October, what keeps me up at night? It's this right here, right? Figuring out what our fiscal year for FY26 budget is going to look like. So you may have seen the video that got sent out on Friday, so we're going to share a little bit more information about what that's going to look like. So with FY26, so Embark is a recipient of general fund subsidy, right? So majority of our funding comes from the general fund. That is tax revenue that comes into the city. They collect that, and then they provide us with a subsidy to help provide our operations and maintenance, our daily operations and maintenance. So if you receive general fund subsidy, that means that as a city department, for FY26, you're required to try to find 4.5% budget reduction or budget savings. So for us, that's about $1.8 million. That is not pocket change, right? So it's been a challenge to find it, but we were able to come up with some ideas, with our primary goals being maintaining our staffing, so avoiding layoffs and maintaining service. And so we feel like we were able to do that, and we were able to do that with 3 proposals, and so we're going to talk about those today. So the first one being Route 19. So with Route 19, a little background. So this provides 60-minute service on weekdays, primarily serving eastern Oklahoma. Oklahoma County covered half of the cost of running Route 19, right? So you guys are familiar. So like if we were going to run into another city, so like say we were going to run into Bethany, the way our trust is set up, we are not able to do that without receiving funding to be able to fund us running into that area. So with us running into the Spencer area out east, so we worked with Oklahoma County to help fund at least half of that route. And they've been doing that for 28 years, right? So for a long, long time. However, last year, legislation was passed, State Bill 1931, that prevented them from being able to provide funding for that Route 19 anymore. And so regardless of whether we were going to have a budget shortfall for FY26 or not, we would likely be looking at doing something with Route 19, whether it was trimmed back or completely cut based on the way our trust is set up and providing service into different cities, right? All that to say, we went ahead and provided service this year for Route 19, even though we did not receive money from Oklahoma County, right? Because it was kind of short notice that they found out that they couldn't do it. We didn't feel like that would be right to customers that use that every day to just pull the plug on it. So all that to say, so let's take a look at the performance of Route 19. So with Route 19, you can kind of see, again, it serves the Spencer area, runs out to the northeast toward Midwest City, connects to Route 15, connects to Route 2, actually does not come downtown, does not come to the transit center. So folks actually have to make a transfer even if they're coming downtown to be able to get to the transit center. So with Route 19, we average about 12,000 trips annually on the Route 19. For Route 19. Our system average for each route is about 106,000. So it's performed significantly lower than all of our other routes. Our average daily ridership being about 46, with our system average for other routes being about 439. So again, significantly lower than all of our other routes. So our proposal to City Council is going to be the elimination of Route 19. Okay? Primary reason being it's clearly our lowest performing route, and also because we lost that funding from Oklahoma County. So this is the important part, right? So this removes 2 full-time bus operator positions that are currently vacant. So no one is losing their job, okay? Make that very clear, no one is losing their job. These are 2 already vacant positions that we're removing from our budget, okay? I'm going to pause there. Any questions about Route 19 removal?
Yeah, is it, you could find a grant?
What's that?
You could find a grant to continue that service? I grew up in
Yep.
Route 1915.
Yeah, so we are looking at other possibilities to serve the area, right? So we
don't hear it.
What's that?
Although it's
It's 46 people. I get it. If it impacts me, I'm going to say something. So I get it. So we are looking at other possible ways to still serve the area. We're looking at, can we adjust 15 to try to get there? Paratransit right now, with this adjustment, Zone 2 would still serve the Mary Mahoney Center, being our biggest trip generator. So paratransit would still serve that. Maryland's trying to see if she can find some money somewhere to see if we can get some sort of program that serves that area. It's not lost on me that 46 people is still 46 people that lose access to dire resources, right? But if we're looking at some ways to save money and not lose positions, this is our best option. But we are still looking for ways to still serve the area as best we can.
How big is slice of the pie does Embark get out of the city?
It's about 160,000 from Oklahoma County.
Yeah, but how much of the budget are we?
As far as like fares?
The general fund. You're asking about the city general fund?
Oh. I got you. So like from the general fund, man, you got me. What's
Yeah.
our total general fund?
So we get about $41 million. And as far as departments go, we're one of the fastest growing in terms of the general fund. So because of our growing and the community wanting our services, we're all on the city council, mayor, city manager's office, we are like top priority for them. So even last year when we had to take cuts, this is the second year in a row of a reduction, council fought for those things to be put back in our budget. So we don't know yet what will happen with this budget. Council is the ultimate one that approves or not. So we have a lot of support.
Well, you know, you had to drop 1.8 million. I was just wondering what the total was, so we knew how much
Like
Embark is getting.
what our percent of the total general fund is. Yeah, I don't have that number. I don't know if the total.
They don't provide that yet.
Yeah, they do. At the city council, or the budget director for the city, once they, I don't even know what the total general fund budget is for FY26, but that'll be part of the budget presentation. The budget director will say that.
We're proposing, maybe we could increase and you've got a man inside, so.
I know, right? Yeah. It works out, doesn't it? Yeah.
But it's a lot higher than, like 13 years ago. This kind of
Oh.
money was unheard of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's insane how much we've grown. Yep. Well, and just to that point, so like, you know, I talked earlier, we've got the customer survey, but then we've got the Oklahoma resident survey. We're ranked what, third on the most desired service? Like
streets, like potholes and stuff.
Yeah. But
The reason I say that because I can remember when we were last.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
hardly got anything.
Yeah. That's people in this room making that happen, making us priorities. Priority number 3. All right, any other questions about 19 before I jump to the next one?
Is there a realistic time when they say they may cut out?
Yeah, so I'll jump to a timeline. It's actually last slide. Yep, good question. All right, so Route 24. So this is our other proposal, Route 24. So Route 24, a little background. Route 24 is our commuter express route between Oklahoma City and Norman. Provides 2-hour frequency running from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., right? So that is focusing on our commuters between Oklahoma City and Norman. With OKC Moves, we did some redesigning, hoping to improve ridership for 24. We saw very, very little improvement with those changes that we made with OKC Moves. So a little performance there. So 24 does on average annual trips about 19,000. Again, the system average being 106. Average daily ridership being about 74. With our system average for each route being about 439. So again, this is our second lowest performing route in our entire system, right? So our proposal is going to be to essentially eliminate that gap in the middle. So we'll still focus on our commuters in the morning, so running from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then focusing on our commuters in the evening, running from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. So those are the folks that are commuting back and forth between Oklahoma City and Norman for jobs and things like that. So with this proposal, this removes 1 full-time position, bus operator, 1 vacant position. So again, no one is losing their jobs. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
What is the frequency go to once we do that? Is it still 2 hours?
Yeah, it'll still be 2 hours. Yep. Yep, great question. Questions? 24? Yep, Jeremy?
Not so much a question from my perspective.
Yep.
Before I came to Embark, I still use the system as a rider to this day. But before I came to Embark, I had to take the 24 to Norman for medical appointments.
Yep.
And that I remember that I would, if I had an appointment at 11 a.m., I had to be on that 9:30.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about
Yep.
somebody that, let's say they got a noon appointment. Now they got to be on the 9 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. It is not ideal. I mean, I think we got to admit it. It's not ideal. We're trying to do everything we can to try to trim back in the areas that we think are the biggest bang for the buck, right? And still try to, yeah, I know.
Personally, having come from using that part of the system, I personally don't get that.
Yep. Yep. There's definitely going to be some impact. Okay, so our third proposal, which is our biggest proposal, is we're going to talk a little bit about streetcars. So a little background. Eugene, you can't leave, man. I'm about to call you out. So back in 2017, we signed a contract with Herzog Transit Services Incorporated, or HTSI. This is they provide the operations and maintenance of the Oklahoma City streetcars. So this is the staffing for operations, the staffing for maintenance. This is a picture from back in 2017. You'll notice this gentleman right here in the middle. He may look familiar. It's a very young Carlisle Barnaby. And you may also notice this gentleman right here. It's a slightly younger Eugene Fritz from back in the day. And then there's that guy right there. But anyway, so we'll jump to the next slide. So streetcar proposal. Hey, I'm in control. I'm in control. I can do what I want here. Yeah, so our proposal is to transition the services, the operations and maintenance services of the Oklahoma City streetcar to bring that in-house. So what does that mean? And why are we doing it now? So why are we doing it now? Well, part of the reason we're doing it now is because that gentleman sitting right there in the back row, Delano Fisher. So Delano Fisher, well, let me back up. Back in 2017, there was nobody in Oklahoma City that knew A, what a streetcar was, and B, how to operate it and maintain it and manage it, right? But you may have heard me say this before, but when you see talent, you steal it. And so that's what we've done over the past few years, is we've stolen Carlisle away from Herzog. And he's our chief of bus operations, right? So he's overseeing what we do in bus, but he's got a ton of historical knowledge when it comes to operating and maintaining streetcars. But then also, when you find talent, you steal it, and we stole Delano away from Herzog also. Tons of maintenance knowledge when it comes to streetcars. Been our streetcar manager now for, you heard earlier, over a year. And so he's been in the weeds with the streetcar. He's got the knowledge. And so Delano's going to step in and oversee and run the Oklahoma City streetcar. So appreciate you. Appreciate you stepping up to do that. I guarantee you he's going to be as gray as Carlisle pretty darn soon. So we'll see what that looks like in a few months. But anyway, so there are some huge cost savings. So we anticipate close to anywhere between $1.1 and $1.3 million worth of cost savings of bringing the streetcar in-house. Majority of that cost savings is with the profit and overhead, right? So this is a contracted service that Herzog provides. And so just immediately by removing that contract, we remove that 15% of profit and overhead. All right, so huge cost savings there. We're going to be eliminating the general manager position, which is the highest ranking position at Herzog. Why? Because we have Delano Fisher, right? So it just makes sense. Then there's some other items in there. So if you look at line items, in their cost to us, they've got copier cost. Well, guess what? We've got copier costs in our budget line items too. So some of that's just going to overlap and get absorbed. So tons of cost savings there. There's some cost savings when it comes to insurance and things like that. So we're anticipating on June 1st, we will be operating streetcar in-house using COPTA employees. These will be operators that are ATU represented. These will be technicians that are ATU represented, and key management staff, right? So we're working close with Chris and the ATU to adopt that contract into our contract, and working close with HTSI to do that adoption of services. And so at this point, everything's been fantastic and everything's working very, very smoothly. Big shout out to Mike Shaw and the HR team. We have to hire 38 new positions. So what does that mean to people in this room? That means there are job postings that are going to happen either tomorrow or Monday, and you will see an opportunity to apply to be a streetcar operator or a streetcar maintenance tech. So what does that mean if you want to become an operator? You don't have to have a CDL, but you do have to go through about 270 hours of streetcar operations training if you've never done it before. Now, I want to be 100% candid to you. This is also open to the current streetcar operators and the current streetcar maintenance techs. And it is likely that they're going to want to keep their jobs, and they're also going to apply for those jobs. But we're going to take the best candidates for those jobs. So if that means that it's somebody in this room, so be it. But again, being candid, it is likely that they are all going to apply for those jobs, and they've got a lot of experience. But feel free to apply also.
Is that like a 4 or 5 month training process for that?
If you are brand new, it's about 270 hours of operations training. So there's a lot that goes into it. It takes a while.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
So for anybody who's currently fixed route paratransit or BRT operators,
Yep.
and they transfer over to the streetcar, would that mess with their seniority?
So it would. So if you are currently a bus operator and you're in this section seniority, and you wanted to come over and be a streetcar operator, and you applied and you got it, it's just like if you were moving from a bus operator to a maintenance tech. Like your seniority goes to the bottom, right? So it'd be the same thing if you came over to be a streetcar operator. Great question. Yep. Yep. Yeah. So the pay is pretty on par. Shaw, what are we thinking on pay?
For bus operators, it'll be pretty much on par with your second year. Right now, I think that's right. Chris, we actually have Chris in here.
I know, right? Yeah.
He's more than expert because I don't want to his contract. It's pretty on par with our bus operators first and second year, and then the facility maintenance is pretty close to the mechanic pay. I will say there are some other pieces to our mechanics where our mechanics can make more money with different certifications that we just don't have those certifications over on the streetcar at this time. So we're still having some conversations to finalize those numbers, but we'll have those out as soon as we get that wrapped up and finalized.
So to answer your question, they're basically right there with, if you're an operator, if you're tech, they're basically right there, same level. A few cents here and there. Any other questions?
Jesse, will there be cleaning in the facility over there, or they have to do that outside house?
Yeah, it's contracted.
Okay.
Yep.
I had a couple of my people ask me, and I didn't know the answer.
Yeah, because it's a city-owned facility, it'd be contracted to do the cleaning. Yep. All right, any other questions? All right, well, this is our timeline for our budget proposal. So on April 29th, it'll be my first time standing up in front of the City Council proposing our budget proposal. Looking forward to doing this, being my first time talking about a major budget cut, but it'll be fun. So that's on April 29th. It'll be televised on YouTube. You can watch it. May 2nd, we'll be having our public hearing talking about the Route 19 and the Route 24. So this is kind of what we were talking about earlier. This is impacting the community, and part of our Title VI program is that we have to put out notification that this is happening, and it allows the community to come in and talk directly to our board and let them know how these changes are impacting them, right? So all that to say, like, these are all proposals. That does not mean that whenever I stand up in front of City Council, I say, what are you doing, all right? So these are proposals that we're proposing to get to our 4.5%. On June 1st, Embark takes over management of the OKC streetcar. June 4th, City Council adopts our FY26 budget. June 6th, COPTA board adopts our budget. July 1st, we're off to the races with FY26. All right, that is a lot of info. Yep, Tracy?
Just so the bus drivers don't think that they were the only one to give up anything, we did freeze a mechanics position,
That's right.
electronics position, and a body shop position.
That's right.
So maintenance did have to give up some positions
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, no, 100%. Like, honestly, like, everybody, what's the term, divvied up or whatever, anteed up to make this happen, right? You're exactly right. I'm glad you brought that up. You're 1,000% right. The entire maintenance crew, we froze positions to be able to get where we needed to be able to make this budget. Admin positions, we froze some admin positions. Like, this affected everybody. So it has not been easy, but we feel like these are some good proposals that have a negative impact to current employees and as minimal impact to the folks that use our system every single day. Thanks, Tracy. I appreciate that. All right, that was a lot of info, folks. Questions? Sorry. Let me make it official. Questions? All right, Suzanne and I are here to answer questions. This is why we do these meetings, so that you have questions, you can ask them, okay?
We have another award handout.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mr. Freddie Hudspeth,
Ah.
his 10 year, he slipped in.
Hiding back there?
Congratulations, Freddie.
Sure. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
And then just one more housekeeping reminder while Mike makes his way up here real quick. because we're running a couple minutes behind schedule, but this will be quick, what Mike has. Promise. And entertaining. Oh, I heard a question. Question?
Yep.
Mike is never quick. I heard somebody. Oh.
Yeah, all right, so I can address that. So Guy's question was, they're tearing down the Prairie Surf Arena, the Cox Convention Center, whatever you want to call it. Is that going to affect the streetcar? So we actually, Delano and I and Armando and a couple other folks had a meeting this morning to actually talk about that. So yes, it will have a slight impact to the streetcar. There's no doubt about it, right?
Okay. So when are they gonna start?
Like within a couple, yeah, they started going in, taking out lights and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that will
actual
affect
demo.
BRT also then.
Yeah, we'll have to do a detour. Yeah, well, they're going to shut down Sheridan. That's the big impact, is they're going to be shutting down Sheridan, so it will impact the streetcar. We're trying to minimize that impact as much as possible. What we've come up with right now is about maybe somewhere between 48 hours to a week max shutting down the streetcar. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, great question, Guy. I appreciate it. All right, last chance. Questions? I'm running away. All right. All right.
All right, so we're going to watch a quick video about assumptions. And so right off the bat, what's our assumption of this guy?
Trouble.
Go ahead. You know I'm hard of hearing, so you got to speak up. He can't hear you? Yeah, he's got his earbuds in. What else? Needs a haircut.
Good. Great.
Think he looks like a sweet young man or a punk?
Well,
Go ahead. Got an attitude?
okay.
Looks sad? Okay. All right. Okay. All right, we got another character that showed up. What do we think about Granny? Attitude? Okay. Anybody else? Hungry? Frustrated? Like it. She's tenacious though. She's apparently at the TC, so I've seen some of you guys attack these. We have video. Oh, what are we thinking about the kid now? Okay. Think Granny feels the same way? That's the exact same way when you're talking to your kids. So what's our final verdict on the kid?
We're done with him? We're done with him? What about Granny? How do we feel about Granny right now? She's still hungry? She's still angry. Now what's our assumption of the kid? Huh? Yep. So let's talk about this real quick.
Who was in this?
What are some of the ways that we jump to conclusions every day?
Judge somebody on their appearance. Judge somebody on their appearance.
Yep. How else? We can only look out, right? So we're only thinking about it through our own perspective. And so when we're looking at it through our own perspective, if we're mad, if we're angry, if we've had a bad day, we've had a good day, we're only looking out. We can project that onto somebody else, right? Even if they don't deserve it. We saw a redhead, I'll tell you, I mean, the very first time I saw the redheaded kid, I was like, redheaded young punk kid. And I projected my 17-year-old boys on that redheaded kid. How do we make fewer assumptions? What's a way that we can make that happen?
How do we not make an assumption in the first place?
Get to know.
Okay? Get to know people. Don't make the assumption in the first place. Is it? Let's take that back though. We live in a life of assumptions, right?
That's what I was going to say.
You're
wired to make assumptions.
That's exactly right. There's a whole reason that there's stereotypes because we've created assumptions in society, right? And we've created those societal stereotypes onto ourselves. Whether they're right, wrong, indifferent, they still exist. And so oftentimes we let those be the cloud that we automatically assume. I see this person, I'm making this assumption. How can that impact how we work as a team and collaborate?
It's not good.
Not good? Erica said it, we get to know the person.
Yeah, and that's what's important. You got to get to know or build a rapport. Then here, it's hearsay most times, because once I would say, this person's, just get to know yourself.
My wife's a first grade teacher, and one of the things that she does every year, if any of you have ever been around teachers, I've been around teachers my entire life. Both my parents were janitors in the school system, so and then I married a teacher. I don't know, I was like, you know what, poverty is good. So, don't tell her I said that. Good thing we're not on video or anything. But one of the things she does is teachers a lot of times will come up and be like, hey, let's have this poster up. Here are the kids that are coming to me. Tell me about them, that kind of stuff. She won't have those meetings. She wants to be open to the idea of letting the student prove who they are or who they're not. Right? Because sometimes if we cascade that assumption about somebody, the truth is, somebody may be a jerk, but they may be just a jerk to you. Right? It literally may just be a you and them thing. They're not a jerk to everybody. And yes, you can have that assumption, but
But the truth is that when you're going and talking about people behind their back and so that you're helping other people create assumptions about somebody, by the way, that same person is also talking behind your back about who you are. And we cloud ourselves with those assumptions, whereas if we're open to the moment and we take the moment for what it is. Because moments are fleeting, right?
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I may be angry. I may have had a rough day. I may have had customers that talk trash. But Steve didn't do that. What does Steve deserve?
Respect.
Steve deserves me to be in this moment to treat him as the gentleman that he's going to treat me as.
I like getting yelled at.
Right.
That's why I went for road supervisor.
Is that right, Steve?
Yes,
No.
sir.
We make assumptions every day. And so oftentimes, where I love that Chris is in here, because Chris and I get to work in tandem on a lot of issues. Some of you are in the room where we've got to work on those issues. And Laura Miller works on those issues, and she is incredible, so I try to make her work on them. But so oftentimes what we interact is we're dealing with assumptions and not the reality of the moment. It's two different people coming from two different perspectives. One may have been having a great day, one may have been having a piss poor day, or maybe both of them had a bad day, and then they met each other. And so obviously other people have treated me bad, so you're going to treat me bad. Bruh, I heard you. I'm in your face, right back at you. Instead of being in that moment and saying, hey, for this moment of time, is that what really happened? Or are we going to make assumptions? You saw Granny get all kinds of mad. We judged the redheaded kid as a punk. But the truth is when we watched through that video,
Granny was in the wrong.
Granny was in the wrong. He was showing incredible manners. Like I would have been proud of my own kid for going, yeah, here, let me share, right? That's what I teach my kids to do. Respect your elders and share if you can, right? Like I would have been proud of my kid in that moment. But if we only watched the first part of it, we would have went, oh, that mother. Man, if I was his daddy, I'd have smacked him in the back of his head, taking that. And that's what happens when we assume and we don't get to actually know the story. So all I'm asking for everybody in here in this very brief moment, you're going to have bad days. You're going to have people who didn't treat you the way that you deserve to be treated.
Sure.
I'll never deny that. It happens to us all. Take a breath. Clear out those assumptions in your head. Live to our core value of be open. Live to our core value of be kind. And approach those moments for just what they are, which are fleeting and incredible opportunities to connect with people. Very last thing. Be there cards. We have a goal of trying to get a be there card from every single employee. There is somebody who has positively impacted you, who has been there for you at a time when you've worked here there was a downtime. This is the moment that I'd ask you to fill out that be there card. We're trying to get 384. We have 384 employees. That's wild to me. When I started 6.5 years ago, we had 225. In 6 weeks, from what I'm told, or what I'm being demanded, where's Delano at? We'll have over 415 employees. It's wild. Think about the growth that we've had over the last 6 years. So there's somebody that's been there for you. I'd ask that you fill this out before you leave. You can drop it up at the front. And it'll also enter you into the next time we do a Stoke storyteller drawing for some cool prizes too. So just by nominating somebody, and it'll also allow them to be entered into that drawing too.
That being said, I appreciate all of you. I'm going to assume that you learned a lot. If you've got questions, we've got the QR codes on there. Scan those QR codes. We want to hear from you. I promise it won't. It's not going into a black hole. Thank you.
Smart. Great job. Consider it my